In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out on a trek through the Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia. They never returned. What searchers found weeks later would become one of the most chilling and baffling unsolved mysteries in modern history. This is the true story of the Dyatlov Pass incident. Led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, the group consisted of 8 men and women, all young, fit, and well-trained in winter expeditions. Their goal was to reach Mount Otterten, a remote peak deep within the mountains. They were seasoned hikers, members of the Ural Polytechnic Institute, and had completed similar expeditions in the past. They set off on January 27, 1959. The plan was to return by February 12th. On February 1st, they pitched their tent on the slope of Syakhl. According to recovered photos and journal entries, spirits were high. They sang songs, took group photos, and wrote detailed notes of their journey. But after that, the trail went cold. When no word came by the 12th, families grew concerned. A search party was dispatched by February 20th. What they found defied explanation. The hiker's tent was discovered on the slopes of Syakhl, known by local Mansi tribes as Dead Mountain. It had been cut open from the inside. Boots, gear, and clothing were left behind, as if the group had fled into the snow in a panic, some of them barefoot. Footprints in the snow showed that they had run into the forest, not in a frenzied stampede, but in an orderly line, as if trying to remain together. 2 bodies were found near a cedar tree, dressed only in underwear. Their hands showed signs of burns, and the branches above them were broken, suggesting they had tried to climb the tree, possibly to look for the others. 3 more bodies were located further downhill, frozen, facing back toward the tent. They seemed to have died trying to return. The final 4 were found 2 months later, buried under several feet of snow in a ravine, and their condition was horrifying. One had a shattered skull. Another had multiple broken ribs. One woman's eyes and tongue were missing. Despite the injuries, no signs of struggle or external wounds were found on their bodies. No blood, no bruises, no defensive marks. Forensic experts were stunned. They concluded that the force required to cause such injuries was similar to a car crash, but there were no vehicles, no avalanche, no attackers. The bodies showed high levels of radiation on some of the clothing, another mystery that deepened the confusion. The Soviet government launched an investigation. Their conclusion? An unknown compelling force. No further explanation was given. The case was quietly closed, but the questions never stopped. Over the decades, theories have exploded: an avalanche, military testing, paranormal activity, a secret weapon, a Yeti attack, even alien contact. Each theory has its supporters and its flaws. The avalanche theory suggests the hikers cut open their tent to escape a snowslide, but the tent was found still standing, and the injuries, particularly crushed chests and missing organs, don't match avalanche trauma. Others point to Soviet military experiments, as the area was known for missile testing. Could the group have witnessed something they weren't supposed to see? Some believe the hikers were victims of infrasound, low-frequency sound waves caused by wind and terrain, theorized to trigger panic and hallucinations. The Yeti theory gained popularity after a satirical newspaper article was misunderstood as real. And then there are the more fringe ideas: UFOs, portals, time anomalies. In 2020, Russian authorities reopened the case and pointed again to an avalanche. But experts and critics say the evidence still doesn't add up. Even modern avalanche simulations show discrepancies. The hikers were experienced. They set up camp in a safe spot. They weren't reckless, they weren't amateurs. Their journals showed they were calm, organized, enjoying the trip. So what did they see that night that made them tear open their tent from within and run into the frozen dark? Something terrified them, something they couldn't explain. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass remains a place of mystery, speculation, and silence. 9 young lives vanished into the snow, and a question that still haunts the cold wind of the Urals. What really happened that night? Even now, more than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass remains a place of silence and speculation. Was it fear? Forces unknown, something we weren't meant to see. In the years that followed, the Dyatlov Pass became more than just a mystery. It became a symbol of how fragile life is in the wild, of how quickly order can collapse into chaos, and of how much we still don't know about the forces that surround us. Documentaries, books, and investigations have kept the story alive. Tourists still hike the same route, retracing the group's final steps. Some do it to honor their memory, others to search for answers. But the truth has never come to light. Even now, more than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass remains a place of silence and speculation. Was it fear? Forces unknown? Something we weren't meant to see? The snow keeps its secrets. But the story lives on, in whispers, in theories, and in questions that still haunt the wind. What do you believe happened on that frozen mountain in 1959? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy real-life mysteries like this one, subscribe for more, because sometimes the most chilling stories are the ones that really happened.